Hi guys, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video. Today it's time for another Friday Reads. And Friday Reads are the videos where I'm talking about the books that I've been working on all over the week, what I'm planning on working on over the weekend and into next week. So currently Borathon is happening, so I've been focusing a lot on, I've been focusing on those books. I haven't actually finished a lot of actual reading, but I did manage to finish two things. First up, I finished Valhalla, the completed saga, volume 1, which is a collection of the first 3 volumes in the Valhalla graphic novel series, and this is a Norse mythology inspired graphic novel series, and it's one of those comics that I read as a kid. I had three comic book series that I always read as a kid. That was Valhalla, Lucky Luke, and this one graphic novel story with this little Indian boy that I absolutely loved. But I forgot what it's called right now. First of all, there's 3 stories in here, and the graphic novels is pretty old school, but it looks like this, and I really enjoy it. This is how I always picture Thor. So I don't know how Marvel came up with that blonde Thor in their universe, because I've always seen Thor as a ginger because of these. And I love that you can tell whenever Loki gets like a fun idea, like here. He has a really funny expressions. But something else that I enjoyed in it was that there was a lot of information about the ideas and how they came up with how all of the characters were supposed to look, based on their knowledge from the Icelandic sagas, which is where they have their stories from. They originally called it Valhalla because they thought that it didn't matter if you call it Valhalla or Valhalla. Valhalla is obviously where the gods and goddesses lives. But apparently it's always Valhalla, but they kept Valhalla because then you at least knew that it was Norse mythology inspired, but it also put their own spin on things, so it's not completely accurate to the stories, even though it follows the storylines that the original sagas are told. And the first one is called The Wolf is on the Loose, and there's also information about how they came up with the final covers. Like, this is the final, how the first one looks, and they went from this and up to this. I think that's really funny. And then it starts out with a little snippet about all of the Norse gods, those that a little bit of history about the Norse myth, so you're aware of things, and they start out with that with every story. So I'll try and find. And before the second one, there was also this, and they were just telling you who you'd already been introduced to in the first one and who are going to be new characters in the second. And the same thing happened with the third, as you can see. And I think that's awesome. Now I'm gonna get a little bit into each of the stories, because they're obviously different and they take different Norse myths into their storyline. The first one is called The Wolf is on the Loose, and this is a story where Thor and Loki has been on a sort of quest in the human world, in Midgard. But because it's such a long travel, they decide to do a layover at a farm or ranch or something, and they have 2 kids, and somehow Loki convinces Thor that he needs these 2 kids to be his servants, called Tjalfe and Röskva, sorry. And then they take them back into Valhalla, where they discover that the Fenrir wolf has gone out of his bindings, and that the chain that Loki bought from the dwarves wasn't strong enough, and so he managed to escape. And there's a lot of people are very scared of the wolf and what it's going to do to the areas. Is it going to kill anyone and all of that? And so they're trying to figure out a way of cheating the wolf and get it back into its chain, and it sort of resolved itself in an interesting way that you didn't expect. And that was really funny. And the second story is called Thor's Bridal Quest or something. Like, it's the story where Thor loses his hammer overnight while he's asleep, because the giant or Jontu or whatever you want to call it stole it, and the only way that Thor can get it back is if he promises that the giant can marry Freya. But obviously Freya is very much against that. She does, for obvious reasons, doesn't want to get married to the Jontu, and so the giant. And so instead, Loki convinces Thor that he has to dress up as Freya and pretend to get married with him. And Thor tags along as his maid of honor thing, so he's also dressing up. And he takes all the 2 kids with him as well. And then, yeah, that is sort of the story of how Thor needs to get his hammer back. And again, there's a lot of fun twist to the original story. And the third story is called Odin's Bet, and that follows Odin when he makes a bet with one of the Valkyries that he can find the 3 best warriors to take back to Valhalla, because he thinks that they don't do a great enough job. And while he's away, Odin's brothers take over Valhalla and basically makes everything a miserable hell for all of the gods and goddesses, with all of the changes that he makes. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I think my favorite was the first volume, but the other 2 were really, really funny as well. But I'm really excited to get to the next one, because I'm pretty sure the next one is where Quark becomes part of it, and he's just such a funny, quirky character that I've only seen in this story, I think. But yeah, definitely very recommended if you ever happen upon it. I think they've been translated into different editions, but I'm unsure which ones. I know that they've been probably translated to Swedish and Norwegian, possibly Finnish, and I think German as well. But yeah, I will leave a link to the Goodreads page to this below, and you can see all of the editions that you can find of this. Possibly not this, but at least the first volume, and you can see if it's been translated or something. If you read Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology, I think that's the best thing there is, then you're wrong in so many ways, because this is the real deal. This is everything that you want in a Norse mythology retelling. It's so much fun, and it's so accurate to the story. Yeah, that is my opinion. The second thing that I finished this week was Our Dark Druid by Victoria Schwab, the final book in the Monsters of Verity duology. And if you don't know, the Monsters of Verity series is set in the city where that's been taken over by monsters. It's divided into 2, North City and South City, if I remember correctly, either west or east, I forgot. But all of the monsters in this city are created after some humans have been doing a certain kind of violence, and the more violent that it is, the deadlier or scarier the monster. And so you follow 2 perspectives. You follow Kate, who is the daughter of the one who rules the northern part of Verity. She just wants to be like her father. She wants to take over his company, and so she's trying to prove to him that she's just like him. She's not. So she's trying to, be annoying. I don't really like her. And then there's August, who is a Sunai, which is one of the 3 types of monsters there is. And the Sunai is the strongest or the most feared, because they look like humans, and you don't know if it's a monster before he's actually ready to kill you. August is my favorite character, obviously, and he's a conflicted person because he doesn't really want to be a monster, but he is a monster, so he's trying to fight who he is all the time, even though he still has the urge to kill. And so he tries to make a right in the way that they do it, and so it's a little more controlled. And yeah, overall, the second one, I'm not going to get into the plot of this one because it will probably spoil too much about what happened in the first one if you haven't read it, but the second one was a little slow going for the most part. there was a thing that happened in another city that was not exactly in Verity, but I think that there was a lot of things that I thought was interesting, and the ending was very not what I expected, but still something that I enjoyed for the most part. So a mediocre book, but I liked the ending, so I ended up on a 3.5 stars out of 5 stars. I liked the first book a little bit more than the second, but still an overall enjoyable duology, and one of the better ones that I've read by V.E. Schwab so far. Those are the 2 things that I finished this week. I also finished something in last week and weekend, but I won't be putting that up. I will leave a link to my Bard of Books vlog instead, and you can see that because that's where I talk about all of the things that I read in that week. Finally, I have been reading a little bit in the Morganville Vampires book 6, which is called Cave Covers. I'm only on page 73, so I'm really not very far into it. It's just a lot slower than the other ones that I've read so far, but I think some things are going to be happening pretty soon, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be speeding through it when I eventually pick it up again. But I also just haven't been in a mood to actually pick up a book and sit down and read because it's been so hot everywhere, especially inside my apartment. So instead I've been listening to a lot of audio, and I want to say close to 75% through Magnus Chase and the Ship of the Dead, which is the final book in that trilogy, which is another Norse mythology retelling. And even though I'm enjoying it for the most part, there are definitely things that I think that the graphic novel series here does better. But yeah, I will get more into that when I eventually do a wrap up, probably soon. I mean next weekend. And finally, I am also about halfway through Waking Gods by Sylvain Develle, the second book in the Themis Files series. This is the Booktube SFF Awards nominee. And so I've been working a lot on those those 2 books this week instead. And I definitely will finish that, and I think that I'll also finish Moving Pictures by Terry Pratchett, which I'll be picking up next, which will also be listened to in audio for the most part. Otherwise, I'll probably pick up some graphic novel. I'm thinking I'll definitely be reading Full Metal Alchemist. I will try and read something in Cave Covers today because I'll bring it with me. Either that or this one, I don't know. Otherwise, I also have Song of Achilles that will try and squeeze in because I still have those 100 pages. I haven't picked it up all week. So those are my plans for the weekend, and into next week, I don't know yet. We'll see what I end up picking up, but it's probably going to be Booktube SFF related, so I'm going to try and maybe finish The Collapsing Empire or something, because I realized that even though I like Kings of the Wild, I know that's not the one that I'll be voting for, because I've already made my decision compared to the other 2 that I've read, so I don't mind waiting to finish that until later, because I'm so far into it that I can determine whether it will be a favorite in the category or not. Instead, I will be trying to finish The Collapsing Empire because I don't know anything about that, and then I'll have finished my science fiction category and possibly Binti Home as well, so that I'll finish the short fiction category. And then I also have that graphic novel, so we'll see. Those are the things that I'll try to squeeze in next week, but yeah. Otherwise, plans for the weekend, it's really hot, so I'm gonna go soon. I'm going to meet up with my mother in the city. I think there's a new store open, which is a ice cream shop, and I think that this weather we're due for an ice cream, and I think we're gonna be having a barbecue today, and I'm just going to be outside rather than inside. Even though it's hot outside, I can sit in the shades and be there. Also, I have shared this on my Instagram and Twitter and Facebook as well, but a lot of you don't follow me on Facebook. But I am an aunt now. My sister had a baby boy last week on Thursday. If you've seen my latest vlog, you'll also know that. But I'm really excited about that, obviously, but that's also the reason why I didn't do a Friday reads last week, because first of all, I was quite busy over the weekend because of the new nephew and all the things that I was going to be doing, but I did have time Saturday to film, but I was not allowed to tell everyone I know about this until my sister had revealed it on Facebook, on social media. Just because on Instagram, lots of my own personal friends are following me, who also knows my sister, and on Twitter as well. And I think that even on YouTube, there are people who watch my videos who knows me personally. Although they don't watch it often, I know that they sometimes do, and so I didn't want to say anything there until I'm sure she'd mentioned it to everyone she knew. And so that's why I didn't, because I was sure I was going to be revealing it, because I couldn't hold my tongue. So yeah, I hope that I'll be seeing my nephew again this weekend, because I haven't seen him since Tuesday, and on Tuesday he was not feeling the best. So hopefully things will be better and I'll be able to see him this weekend. I hope for a beach trip this weekend. That would be so nice. The water here has become pretty warm because all of May has been summer, more or less. I mean, we've already so close to have had as many summer days that we had all season last year at this point, and we're not even in June or July yet, which is and August. July and August are usually the hottest months, and we're not even there yet. So it's been really great and very unusual and a little scary at the same time, because, you know, since it's so unusual and climate changes and stuff, yeah, we could use some water soon, actually. No. Anyway, this video turned out longer than I thought it was going to be, but yeah, this is all I had for you today. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what you've been reading over the past week, and do you have any exciting plans for the weekend. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Bye!